welcome back to Let's Play Great Ace Attorney 2. In our last episode, we found out that our victim was actually poisoned instead of stabbed. Well, stabbed and poisoned. And we found out someone who could have done it. Alright. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, you remember what you said, Susato? You had no doubt in your mind about my innocence. You stand by me to the last. I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I had important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato! I deserve it! In fact, throw me to the floor! That's too good for me as well. Drag me through this... really? I'm no better, you know. Oh. Even though my heart I knew you pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood there and promised you I'd be by your side and always by your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. I failed you as a lawyer. No. I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father, the fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. So, Ray, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant and dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now. Whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. And we never see her face, her eyes. It all happened right before my eyes. And you were the only people in the hut at that time. That's right, just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. Great mystery indeed. I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It'll be alright. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you saw is true. Now I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the chemical. Alrighty then. I sent a colleague of mine with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. What's the matter, Suzato? You're suddenly very quiet. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive deadly poison stole from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing. It was when the professor and Sosuke-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. The so-called English lady swanned in without any compunction, said to Professor Mikitoba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guest would love to hear about your work on that substance there." It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Sosuke-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then Sosuke-san knew about the poison. Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin as well. Many Memos, son. By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went out to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Sosuke-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police. Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel! We've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. Trial is about to resume. Please proceed to the courtroom at once! It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense Attorney Rotoro Naruhodo. Yes. Alrighty. Time to rock and roll. Alright, who is this mini memo guy? I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Ray Mambani. Prosecutor Auchi, have you summoned the new witness? Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh. What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikitoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Giselle Brett's life. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter. Oh, too kind, Your Excellency. Too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the reagent delivered to police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. And counsel, what were the results? This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no traces of poison anywhere along its blade. What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the reagent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake. No poison, huh? Has been utterly destroyed. Ow! Now, the prosecution is ready to call the new witness. The newspaper reporter managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness. No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case, then how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Write many memos to show you news. They Where's that, logo again? I'm what people like to call a journo. What's a journo, Father? Do you know? It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops and then print the next morning. They don't call me Hero of the Herald for nothing. Ow. The nice guy of news. Oh, you're one of those quote-unquote nice guys. So, was it you who took this photograph, was it? Well, well, what do we hear? I'm sorry. Oh, brace yourselves, people. Memo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. Readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at 72 point and 5-leg format in the morning edition. Huh? Right then, let's start with your name. Ritaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? Excuse me. The country's legal system, I suppose. Ritaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. By the way, my name is Taketsuchi Aochi. That's Taketsuchi Aochi. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart. No, they don't. Nah, Ritos won't buy that. What? Even he sees it. Witness. Yes? What this court demands to know is whether or not you are responsible for the taking of this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a general if I didn't be quick when presented a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you gotta be fast. Fast likes to run with and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I will say. That's what I call my many-memoism. Many-memoism? I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself with Sosuke-san. Yeah, right. That was me. Memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is... I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Miss Brett's words? A criminal left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse done. The country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's ruling on with the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young man. These are complex political issues at play. Phew. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. You're a friggin' tongue twister guy. How the hell do you still have a tongue to talk with? Are you ready? I'll read it out loud. It's all here. Right, here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A criminal going on some junket. The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get the woman's story, so I could hammer her in the press. You mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? A grim scene portrayed in this photograph? Oh yes, I saw it with my own journo eyes. From start to finish, through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Thank you, Memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You'll state exactly what you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death. Alrighty. The camera never lies. The beach was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife. Throwing the Englishwoman to the floor, she stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journo spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. That's not. Read screens, you say? Right, you can see them clearly in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven weeds. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat. And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved. Did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yeah, I saw it. Saw the whole thing from start to finish. And you say you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens. Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime. A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Peeping fucking Tom. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's a mini-memoism in a nutshell. At last, it would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict. No! Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? Oh, that's right. It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. Ah! More pathetic excuses! Very well then, Counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. Alrighty. Blah, blah, blah. Alright, what? Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? The precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out, from start to finish. I've here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Right, you are. It's all here in my mini memo pad. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on this stool at the back of the hut here. Okay, she just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I've noted now. My turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. Then the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged a knife in her adversary's back as the two passed each other. That doesn't seem it would be big enough for that. What you describe as a grim crime indeed. Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many memoisms say. Okay, then we have that. By the way, many memo son. pen's lid. Nothing appears obviously out of the extraordinary here, does it? Yeah, we have that. The police really ought to have spotted that. RM are very clearly engraved here, and the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message to identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there can be any doubt that this is the key of evidence in this case. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. You fill it by drawing ink from a bottle up through the nib. Is something wrong, Father? It's just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there. That's all. You're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on the film? Journalists have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our reason to deter. Right, so you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. That's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may... Yes, Professor. I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. What are you... I will grant the defense's request. Memos-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of any Memoism, but I'll gladly prove my words aren't meaningless. I never once set foot in that hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was only there as an observer. Well, we'll see about that. Memos-san, until now I've had a firm belief that the newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth. You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Show You News in my arm. Dude, you're an idiot. In a way, that's more Memoism. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth. What are you suggesting with those rude criminatory words, counsel? Memos-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. Are you? If you look at the barrel of this pen, you'll note that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Mambami. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also R.M.? No! Write to Money Memo, R.M. That's horse done. Can't you see one of the central tenets of Memoism is being a pencil user? And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there is a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey Horsedon! Memos-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut? Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Show You News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell, yes. There's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is. In that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies. Of course, Your Excellency. We know where this is. Of course, my control stick would rather. Alright, yeah, I know, we know the emblem. As well as the initials, there is also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize, many Memos-san. Goodness me! It's the emblem of the Show You News! In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Show You News whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, many Memos-san, how do you respond? No! Gotcha. Explain yourself, witness. So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yeah, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Show You News reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. You never mentioned this before. When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. Just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and we many Memoists say the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify under oath about how the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired. Got it, yes, alright. But on one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the early witness, Sosky Natsumi-san. Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own. And brace yourselves, it's not a harmless one, it's big. What? One man's secret is every other man's front page story. I'm not gonna be very sad when you go away. Very well, I grant the witness's request in this instance. Officer, summon the earlier witness back in the stand. Sosuke-san hiding something? What are you doing this time, Sosuke? I asked the Englishwoman for an interview. Well, she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed the other witness and this came running. The detective realized the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when the writer menu asked the woman for a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, so this is why many Memoism demands I reveal it now. Oh, brother. You mean to say the victim? It gained consciousness. Well, when she did, you decided to ask her a question. That's, true. Yes. He did. And that's not all. The woman gave him a very definitive answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. This is preposterous! Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack? It wasn't even a conversation! Yes, I did pose the withering English Rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. The court must and will know the truth. And we will in the next episode.